So we have already talked about how to convert one unit, like seconds to weeks, or weeks to seconds, or miles to feet, or miles to kilometers. We've already talked about how to do one unit using dimensional analysis. Today we're going to talk about how to do a rate, like miles per hour to feet per second, or feet per second back to miles per hour, or dollars per liter to dollars per gallon. So we're going to learn something like that. But before we do that, I want to just review with you how to do dimensional analysis. If you want to, you can pause this video right now, do number 1 on your own, and then once you're done, then watch it, see if you did it right. That's your choice. If you want to just go ahead and do it, you should do it with me. In fact, everything that I do here, you've got the same paper. I want you to do it the same time as me, okay? Just like you're in class and you're taking notes. All right, so this one you can try on your own first, and then pause the tape and then try it again, okay? So number 1 says how many seconds are in a week. So what we're doing this one is we're taking a week and we're converting it to seconds. So with dimensional analysis, just a reminder, the first thing you do is write down the thing you're starting with. We're starting with a week. We're trying to go to seconds. Now, you could start by writing 1 week and then convert 1 week to days, but all of you already know that 1 week is 7 days. So technically, what we're trying to do here is convert 7 days. So we're going to start by writing 7 days, okay? And I'm going to put over 1. Now, keep in mind, when you're just doing 1 unit, we're converting days to seconds. We have just a 1 at the bottom. There's no label at the bottom. There's just a label on the top, okay? And the label stays at the top. So what we want to do now is we want to cancel out days. Okay, so to cancel out days, since this is multiplication, we are trying to cancel out diagonally. So we're going to write something about a day here. Y'all know that 1 day is 24 hours. So I'm going to put 24 hours over 1 day. Now, it's important that you're writing your labels to keep track of where you're at. So like the days cancel out. So if I stopped here and did 7 times 24, that would tell me how many hours were in 7 days. But that's not what I want to know. I want to know how many seconds there are. So right now we have hours. So we want to cancel out hours. So then we're going to write hours here. And so we know that 1 hour is 60 minutes. So we're going to put 60 minutes at the top. And then you're going to cancel out the hours. Okay? If I stopped here, I would have minutes. I would have converted 7 days or a week to minutes, but I'm going to do that. I'm going to keep going. So what I'm going to do now is cancel out minutes. So you put minutes on the bottom, and we know that 1 minute is 60 seconds. Okay? Now we can stop, because that's the label that we want. We want seconds, so we can stop there. So now we can do our math. So we don't do any math until we have the label that we want. So the whole point of dimensional analysis is putting the labels, getting the labels that you want. Okay? So now go ahead and multiply 7 times 24 times 60 times 60. I already know 60 times 60 is 3,600, so I might type in my calculator 3,600. And then times 24 times 7. So all of the tops, if you do that, go ahead and do it right now. And if you did it, you should have gotten 604,800. And the label at the top is seconds. Okay? 604,800 seconds. And the bottom, since all the bottoms are 1 times 1 times 1 times 1, we could say over 1, but we don't need it because you don't need a 1 at the bottom. Okay? So, my answer, 604,800 seconds in 1 week, basically. Okay? Alright, so now, the next problem that we're going to do, number 2, these are different because this is a rate. Remember, rates have 2 units to it. And remember, to get those rates, we divided something. So like the first problem says, convert 80 feet per second to yards per minute. To get feet per second, I did something with feet and seconds, and I divided to get feet per second. This label right here tells you in the order in which you divided, feet over seconds, right? The word per means 1. So with this problem right here, number 2, I'm going to start by writing 80 feet per second. So I'm going to write 80 feet over 1 second. So now this one's different because up at this one, I just had days. I had no unit on the bottom. This one has a unit on the bottom, okay? So the idea here is we're trying to get feet per second to yards per minute. So what that means is my end results, I want, when I get to the very end, I want to have yards on the top, and I want to have minutes on the bottom. That's what yards per minute means, right? So the label I want on the top is yards, the label I want on the bottom is minutes. So what I'm going to do now is go back to the very beginning. With this, what you have to do is you have to convert feet into yards, and you have to convert second into minutes. So you do it a step at a time, but all in one line. So we're going to start first with the feet, and it doesn't matter. You can start with the seconds or you can start with the feet, it doesn't really matter. But I'm going to start with the feet. So I'm going to take the feet, since feet is on the top, just like when we were doing the dimensional analysis above, feet is on the top, I'm going to put feet on the bottom here. So now we're trying to get feet to yards. Well, we know that. We know how many yards are in a foot, right? We know that we know that 3 feet is 1 yard, right? We know 3 feet is 1 yard. So that's what we're going to put there. So now the next thing we're going to do is cross out the feet. You cross out the feet. If you stopped here, you would have yards over seconds. So if I multiply the top and multiply the bottom and divided, I would get yards per second. But I don't want yards per second, I want yards per minute. So I have yards at the top. I'm going to circle that, put a check by it, because you know what? That's what I want on the top. On the bottom, I don't want seconds. So what I have to do is cancel out the seconds. Since seconds is on the bottom, to cancel it out, you have to put seconds on the top. So what you're going to do is put what you know about seconds. You know that 60 seconds is 1 minute. And the second you do that, the seconds here will cancel out because they cancel out diagonally, right? It's like cross-canceling. It doesn't matter that they're far away. As long as the bottom and the top cancel out, you're good, all right? So now, if you look, what you have at the bottom is minutes, and that's what I want. I want yards per minute. I want yards on the top, minutes on the bottom. So now I'm finished, and I can go ahead and do my multiplication. So what you do first is you multiply the top. So we've got 80 times 1, you don't have to put the 1 in there, times 60. So 80 times 60 is 4,800. So I'm going to get 4,800 yards is my label. I'm going to erase here my yards per minute, because didn't quite get that far. And then the bottom, 1 times 3 times 1, well that means you have 3 on the bottom, and the label is minutes. So you got to keep track as you're going. Keep track of the things you're crossing out, and keep track of what you have. Okay, that's going to be, that's what tells you what to stop when you have the labels that you want. Okay, so I've got now yards over minutes. This tells me that I can go, or this 80 feet per second is 4,800 yards in 3 minutes, but I don't want 3 minutes, I want yards per minute. So to get yards per minute, it's just like a rate. You divide 4,800 divided by 3, and you go ahead and divide that by 3, you get 1,600. So that means that in 80 feet per second, that's the same as 1,600 yards per minute. And that would be the label, okay? So the whole time you're doing this, it's important that you are paying attention to your labels. It's important that you're crossing things out as you go, okay? So anyway, if you think you have it, turn it off, try the next one, or if you need another example, here's the next one, okay? So the next one, number 3, is convert 55 miles per hour to feet per second, okay? So we're going to start with 55 miles per hour. This is actually 2 labels, MPH, miles on the top, hours on the bottom. So you start by writing 55 miles over 1 hour. That's what that means, that you're going 55 miles in 1 hour, miles per hour, okay? Now, we're trying to get to feet per second, which means that in the end, I want feet on the top and seconds on the bottom, okay? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start off by converting one thing at a time. So I'm going to start with miles. I just always like to start with the top, okay? So miles, I got to put something diagonal to miles here, okay? This only works for the dimensional analysis, not proportions. Proportions, everything has to be on the same level. But with dimensional analysis, because it's multiplying, they're diagonal, all right? So we know that 1 mile is 5,280 feet. 5,280, okay? So that's 5,280 feet, okay? So there we go. That's really easy. We cancel out the miles. my top, I have feet. I want feet on the top. So I'm going to circle put check mark by it because that's what I want on the top. If I stopped here, I would have feet per hour. But I don't want feet per hour. I want feet per second. So we got to cancel out the hours. Since hours is on the bottom, you're going to put hours, something with hours on the top. Okay? We know 1 hour is 60 minutes. So we're going to cancel out the hours, and you have minutes now. So if I stopped here, I would have feet per minute. But I don't want feet per minute. I want feet per second, right? So what I'm going to do now is cancel out my minutes. All right, cancel out my minutes. And I know that 1 minute is 60 seconds, right? So minutes here cancel out because they're diagonal to each other. And my label at the bottom now is seconds, and that's what I want. Feet per second. All right? So now you go ahead and multiply the top. So I'm going to do 55 times 5,280 times 1 times 1. You don't need to do the times 1 times 1. So 55 times 5,280. Go ahead and try it. If I did my calculations right, it should give you 290,400 feet. Okay? So I put feet because that's the label on the top. And now the bottom, you're going to do 1 times 1 times 60 times 60. 1 times 1 you don't need to do. 60 times 60, 6 times 6 is 36. You got 2 zeros, it's 3,600. So you're going to put 3,600 or 3,600 at the bottom seconds. Okay, so I don't want to know how many feet I can go in 3,600 seconds. So what I want to do now is I want to divide 290,400 feet divided by 3,600. That's going to give me feet per second. Whenever you want that per, you divide, right? So you go ahead and divide that, and I'll go ahead and do it with you here. So I did 290,000. Oops, did it wrong. 290,000. Look at me doing it totally wrong. 290,400. There we go. Divided by 3,600. There you go. And what you get here is 80.6 repeating. Remember, the 7 at the top, your calculator will always round the last number, but this is a repeating decimal. This is 80.6 repeating. Remember what 0.6 repeating is as a fraction? It's 80 2/3. So this answer would be 80 2/3 feet per second. So that's how fast this person is going, or this car, or whatever. 55 miles per hour would be like a car. Car is going 55 miles per hour. That means that when your car is going 55 miles per hour, that it's going a little over 80 feet every second, which is pretty darn fast if you think about it. Okay? All right, so what I want you to do is I want you to pause the tape and do the next one, number 4. Try it on your own. If you get stuck, turn it back on and watch it. Okay? All right, so I'm going to go ahead and do it. If you paused it and got it right, excellent. Let's see if you can figure it out. This one's a little bit different. This one says in Dublin, Ireland, gasoline costs 116.9 cents per liter. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to write down, here are my labels, cents and liters. And I'm trying to get to dollars per gallon. So cents per liter is what I have, 116.9 cents. So I'm going to write 116.9 cents. I'm going to use the cent symbol, okay? When you're talking about cents, cents goes at the end. When you're talking about dollars, it goes at the beginning. Doesn't make much sense, but that's just how it does, okay? So we've got 116.9 cents per liter. That means per means 1 liter, okay? So what I have is cents over liters. I want to get dollars over gallons. So first thing I'm going to try to cancel out is the cent symbol. This one's pretty easy. Cents, dollars. You know that $1 is 100 cents, okay? So that would be how you convert the cents, all right? So now, the next thing I'm going to do is I have dollars, which is what I want. I want gallons, okay? Now, I don't know about you guys, but I don't know. This is converting metric into customary, which is our system. You're not required to memorize those things. So I really don't know how many gallons are in a liter. So I've given you some helpful things up here. So you want to look up here at the top about liters, right? So right here, it says 1 liter is 0.2642 gallons. Okay, so I'm going to put 0.2642. So 1 liter is 0.2642 gallons. All right, so now we crossed off our cents. I forgot about that. Cross off your liters now. If I stop here, it is dollars per gallon, and that's what I want. I want dollars per gallon. So I'm going to stop here because that's the label I want. Okay, so you want the top to be dollars, you want the bottom to be gallons. So go ahead and multiply straight across. You're going to multiply 116.9 times 1 times 1. So it's 116.9. Okay, and it's dollars now over. Now this right here, 100 times this, don't forget, whenever you multiply a number by 100, all you have to do is move the decimal point over 2 places or add 2 zeros at the end if it's a whole number. This right here, to do this times this, just move that decimal point over 2 places and you get 26.42. So basically what this means right now is that you, with $116.90, you could buy 26.42 gallons of gasoline in Ireland. Okay, so that's not what we want to know. We want to know how much is it per gallon. So to get per gallon, you divide. So you just do 116.9 divided by 26.42. And if you do, when you do that, so let's do it, 116.9 divided by 26.42. All right, so you get this big, huge number. Think about your label. Your label is dollars per gallon. So we want to round this to dollars. So we want to take it out 2 decimal places, so that's $4.42. If that number, 4, was a 5, we would round it to 43 cents, but it's not. So we make it $4.42. So the label would be that gas in Ireland would cost $4.42 per gallon. So for every gallon, it would be $4.42. Okay. All right, so now you should try the next one on your own, for real this time. Press pause. Try it on your own. Okay. When you're done, of course, check it or turn it back on. All right, so if you've turned it back on at this point, you should have, for number 5, gotten a rounded answer of 54.5 miles per hour or 55 miles per hour. I am not going to go ahead and do this one with you. I will go ahead and show it to you though. So this is what it would look like. Number 5, you would start off with 80 feet per second. You would do 1 mile over 5,280 feet. You would do 60 seconds over 1 minute. You would do 60 minutes over 1 hour. And then when you multiply, you get 288,000 miles over 5,280, and then you divide. When you divide, your calculator gives you 54.54545454. That's 54 repeating. With this, you could just round it. If you could round it to 54.5 miles per hour or 55 miles per hour, that's enough. But if you want an exact answer, 54 repeating would be 54 and 54 over 99. Repeating decimals over 9, 99, depending on how many digits are repeating. If it was 0.543, 543, 543, it would be under 999. Okay? Alright, so you need to finish the rest of the problems on your own. Thanks. Bye.